I used to sneak into the front room after my mother went to bed about 10 o'clock and put the volume on very low. And I heard all the greats, Jack Teagarden, Sidney Bechet, and Louis Armstrong, and all that. I loved all of it. Somehow music connected with me. Sure, I wanted to play trombone. Everybody wanted to play like Tommy Dorsey. I couldn't remember where anything went. I tried drums, couldn't do that. Tried piano, not too difficult. So I became an instigator instead, an enabler. When I started at Roosevelt College, there were a lot of young musicians there in the music school, such as Richard Davis. They had a club that used to listen to records, but when I saw this guy coming down the hall and that guy, hey, you want to play? Yeah. They were there, they wanted to play, because all this new music came out, and they were interested in Dizzy and Bird and Thelonious Monk and all that. Charlie Parker as guest soloist, and he was playing at the Beehive out on 55th Street, and I was writing a column for the student newspaper, The Torch, and I had written a nice complimentary piece, and he read it. He said, well, I guess I'll have to come. He had a reputation of not showing up at a lot of places, and I had somebody stationed downstairs in the lobby tell us if he arrived, and all of a sudden this kid comes up and said, he's here. And it seemed like the library and the study halls, everything emptied, and everybody came in. And Charlie played with our guys. I don't know how to describe it. All I know is I quote what Dexter Gordon said many years ago, bebop is the music of the future, as soon as they learn how to play it. Most people think it's playing a lot of notes as loud as they can. That's not what it is. Anyone who's heard Charlie Parker in person or Dizzy Gillespie in person knows it's something different than just blowing through a horn. I didn't really think about owning or running a nightclub. It just sort of happened. And I just took the door and paid the musicians, and if there was something left, fine. Sometimes I had to borrow a couple bucks to get home from the musicians. But I spent many a day going up and down the L platforms, putting up posters with staple guns and thumbtacks. That's the way you did it then. There was no internet or any of that. There were children when we had Rush Street in the 70s. And they come here now and they're bringing their grandkids. I don't consider it I've done anything. I consider it I've done for myself, because I love the music and I like to see people come in and enjoy themselves. To me, it's the most beautiful, important music in the world.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joe Segal, the jazz advocate for the NEA for this year.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Jazz Showcase North, East. I've said that so often that I just automatically comes out. I was going to rip off my shirt and show you our logo, but I figured doesn't need to be done. They have a lot of notes here for me to read, but I think we'll just wing it like we usually do. And I'd like to have you meet some of the wonderful musicians who have come out to help me honor the NEA. First of all, Mr. Jimmy Cobb at the drums. The fabulous Ray Drummond on bass. And on alto and piano are two of the gentlemen that started with me at Roosevelt back in the 40s, around 47, 48, when they were just teenage musicians learning their instruments and really playing some great music. We have Ira Sullivan on tonight. It's alto, but he also plays trumpet and soprano and flute. And at the piano, and also a very accomplished vibist. He used to have a little portable set of vibes that he'd schlep up and down on the L and come to the sessions. And when the pianist didn't show up, he'd sit in on piano. Mr. Stu Katz. And of course, my main man from Philly, hi, the great Jimmy Heath. And before I relinquish the mic, I would like to thank everybody that helped me to get here. And particularly, I'd like to thank my son Wayne, who has kept everything going through great, great effort. And he's carrying it on. Gentlemen, what are you going to play? Come tell me. Tell me, pretty baby.
Joe Segal has been booking me since I was 18 years old, and by virtue of that, I got to play with every major jazz musician